Hello everyone, thanks for watching. For our first video here, I thought we'd have a kind of general conversation around how we shape and change human behavior. Our primary target is students, but this is used in many other places. So first we're going to talk about 5 types of strategies to consider, and then we'll look at a real-world example. So first is setting events. Are there things that are happening outside of school that the school can support? Are the kids coming in on a noisy bus, or is there trouble with students actually traveling to the school? So thinking about things that happen outside of the school and trying to find ways in which we can support students with those external needs. Next, we think about antecedent strategies, and that's kind of thinking about the environment, thinking what could we do to prevent problems from happening in the first place? What kind of supports could we have up, and then thinking about signage and putting up reminders for kids about what we want them to be doing in a place. Next is the teaching of behavior, and research would say that this is probably one of the most important parts of any kind of school-wide behavior system, is explicit instruction around behavior. And if we're seeing a behavior we don't like with students, then thinking what would we prefer them to do, and then providing that instruction for that. And then finally thinking about how we respond to students. So 2 ways. First, if students start using these new behaviors that we taught them, they start meeting our expectations, how do we provide positive reinforcement to make it so that they continue to do so? And then secondly, thinking if they do not, if they go back to a problem behavior, if they go back to one of those behaviors that we're not really looking for, what's our response going to be in that situation? So just some general guidance, a couple of ways in which we can do this. So we can change the environment. Think about, what supports might make it easier for my students to do what I'm asking them to do. We can teach them easier behaviors that help them achieve the same goal. If they're getting peer attention in an inappropriate way, is there an appropriate way that we can teach them to do that same behavior, or to get that same outcome? We can provide positive reinforcement when students do what we've asked them to do, and then we can implement aversive consequences to discourage students from engaging in a behavior. So now let's just take a moment to see how this is used on us, on grown-ups, on adults, on a regular basis. And I'm going to put up a location here that most folks are very familiar with, Target. So if we start with the environment and we just kind of consider ways in which they make their environment more conducive to the behavior that they would like to see from you, which I'm pretty sure everyone is kind of aware that they would like you to spend money, they would like you to shop. So they have bright lights everywhere, they have signs guiding you to where locations in the store are, they have wide aisles. If you look in that picture there's about 50 cash registers to make it easy. They put items up near the cash register to encourage more buying. They have carts available so that if they did not have the carts, you could only buy what you can carry in your hands. However, they have carts there to help facilitate the carrying of more materials. At some point they had a problem. Someone slipped and fell. And so they try to put interventions in place to stop that. So they put umbrella bags up, and I'm guessing that some folks maybe don't use those, and so the floors were still getting wet. So then they'll put blowers out. I've seen mats put down in stores, signage. The point is, when they have an issue that is predictable, when they know that a problem is likely to happen, they're going to continue to put things in place to stop it, so that they don't have that problem anymore. And so schools can do this too. Classroom teachers can do this too. What can I put in my environment that's going to stop the things that I don't want to happen from happening? Additionally, they think about locations in their store where they might have more problems, or maybe they look at the data and they identify parts of the store where they're more likely to have issues, and they put extra staff members in that store. So electronics, jewelry, you'll find more staff in those locations. They're not shy there at Target about telling you what they'd like you to do. Trick or treat on the cheap. Spend your parents' money wisely. Get the coupon. Stock up. So just like Target in schools and in classrooms, we can do the same thing. Let's put up visual reminders, cues, things that we want students to be showing us in terms of behavior. Let's put up signs and postage that reminds them to do those things. And then finally, Target makes use of positive reinforcement, $5 gift cards, $5 off today and every day, just continuously trying to build a positive relationship with the customer by providing positive reinforcement and encouraging them to, again, spend more money. And then finally, you will see, asset protection folks. You'll see signs like this up in Target. So they are aware of consequences, adverse consequences and punishment. But it's not their primary means of shaping and changing behavior. They're really looking at how do we set up our environment so that our customers can be as successful as possible. They think, what do we want to teach people, or what do we want to influence in terms of their behavior? And then finally, how can we use positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement or adverse consequences to change and shape behaviors? And so the starting point for student behavior, this could be applied to an entire school building. How can I create an environment that will support all students? How am I going to teach behavior to all students? And how do I use positive and adverse consequences for all students? It's also the basis for a behavior intervention plan when we're looking at just one student. What additional supports would that one student need? What additional behaviors do I want to teach that one student? And again, how do I modify consequences to get more of what I'm looking for and less of what I don't want to see? Keep an eye out for more videos with more specific behavior interventions. This has just been a kind of general overview of how we can change and shape student behavior using the ABCs of behavior.